Playboys ask women questions not because they are fishing for information but because they understand that connection is sparked when someone feels truly seen and heard, and desire is never born from rehearsed lines or surface-level chatter. It comes from creating an atmosphere where emotions rise naturally and curiosity flows without force. And the first question they ask is, what is the most spontaneous thing you have ever done? Because spontaneity pulls someone back into a memory of thrill and freedom, and the second you invite her to tell you that story, her brain relives the emotion, her body remembers the rush, and unconsciously she begins associating you with that same pulse of excitement. And now you are no longer just someone she is talking to, you are linked with a powerful memory. And then the second question they ask is, if you could wake up tomorrow anywhere in the world, where would it be? And this instantly pushes her into a dreamscape where imagination takes over and she starts to paint pictures of beaches, cities, mountaintops, or hidden villages. And in those moments you are not just a man across the table, you are the one who gave her permission to dream. And in that state of possibility, attraction deepens because desire thrives in imagination and in the space where fantasy begins to blend with reality. And then comes the third question, what is something you could talk about for hours without ever getting bored? Because when she answers, her energy changes, her voice lifts, her eyes brighten, her soul becomes visible, and you have just given her the platform to step into her own passion. And this is where a shift happens. She doesn't just feel like she is talking, she feels like she is being understood. And when someone feels understood, they start to lean in, they start to connect, and that connection is the root of desire. And then comes the laughter, because laughter is not decoration, it is glue. So the fourth question is, what is the most ridiculous thing you have ever laughed at? And when she thinks about that silly memory, she cannot help but laugh again, and that sound breaks tension, it collapses walls, it replaces any stiffness with comfort, and suddenly the moment feels light and fun, and attraction flows in the spaces laughter creates. And then the fifth question slices deeper, what is one decision you have made that completely changed your life? Because now you have shifted the conversation from small talk to meaning, from autopilot to reflection, and you are no longer anyone in the crowd, you are someone she can explore her own story with. And when a woman feels safe enough to share that part of her life, she begins to bond with the one who listened, and in that bond desire grows. And then there is curiosity, the sixth question, what is something people often get wrong about you? Because here lies the longing every human carries to be known correctly. And when she answers, she reveals a truth she rarely shares, and now you are holding something valuable, something intimate, and this intimacy is magnetic because it feels like a secret space only you have been invited into. And finally, the seventh question turns the whole game into possibility, what would you want to teach someone who is dating you? And when she answers, she is imagining what it would be like for you to be in her life, not just as a passerby but as someone close. And desire is not just about sparks, it is about painting a future. And this question does exactly that, it shifts her thoughts from now to next. And when you combine all seven questions, you realize the formula is not about manipulation or games, it is about presence, listening, and guiding the moment into depth. And the more you lean into curiosity, the more you awaken emotion, and the more you awaken emotion, the more desire takes root, until the conversation itself becomes unforged. Chasing one is all about asking questions that awaken adventure and excitement, because the truth is, desire doesn't live in boring conversations or predictable exchanges. It comes alive when you create a spark that taps into someone's memories of freedom, thrill, and boldness. When you ask a woman what is the most spontaneous thing you have ever done, you are not just making small talk, you are handing her the key to unlock a story that is charged with energy. And when she begins to talk about that road trip she took without planning, or the night she went out dancing until sunrise, or the crazy decision she made on impulse, you are not just hearing words, you are feeling her emotion. And here is where psychology comes into play, because human beings relive emotions when they tell stories. So when she describes that wild and exciting moment, her body floods with the same feelings she had back then, her smile grows wider, her voice carries energy, her eyes light up. And because you are the one asking the question and listening with full presence, her brain starts to anchor those same emotions to you. And now, instead of just talking about her past, she is associating that rush, that thrill, and that freedom with your presence. And that is how attraction begins. The power of awakening adventure through questions is that it breaks the ordinary pattern of conversation. Most people stick to questions like how was your day, what do you do for work, or where are you from, and while those questions are fine, they don't ignite anything, they don't move emotions, but a question that taps into spontaneity immediately sets you apart because it shows you are not interested in surface level chatter. You want to connect with who she really is, when she is free, when she is alive, when she is not following the rules of routine. This is where Playboys stand out because they understand that desire is a feeling and feelings are triggered not through logic but through emotional memory. By asking the right adventurous question, you put yourself in the frame of being someone who excites her, someone who pulls her out of the ordinary and into the extraordinary. And the beauty of this approach is that it doesn't just create connection in the moment, it also sets up the possibility for more. When she walks away from the conversation, she is not going to remember the facts she told you, she is going to remember how she felt when she was with you, that she laughed, that she relived a thrill, that she felt lighter, freer, more alive. And because people are wired to seek more of what feels good, she will naturally want to be around you again. Adventure is magnetic because it brings novelty, and novelty awakens desire every time. So when you ask a question that awakens adventure and excitement, you are not just learning about her life, you are positioning yourself as the person who helps her feel the rush of life again, and that is unforgettable and irresistible because attraction at its core is about association, and if she associates you with energy, excitement, and freedom, then you have already sparked the desire that others are still chasing. Number 2 is about triggering imagination and dreams by inviting her to share visions of places, fantasies, and possibilities, because attraction deepens when you guide someone into a space where their mind is free to wander beyond the ordinary. When you ask a question like, if you could wake up tomorrow anywhere in the world, where would it be? You are not just asking about geography, you are giving her the opportunity to paint a mental picture, and that picture is filled with colors, textures, emotions, and desires. The human brain doesn't separate imagination from reality, it reacts to imagined experiences almost as strongly as it reacts to real ones. So when she begins to describe waking up in Paris with the Eiffel Tower outside her window, or lying on a beach in the Maldives with the sun warming her skin, or hiking through mountains in Switzerland breathing in fresh air, her body starts to feel the emotions tied to those fantasies, and because you are the one who invited her there, she begins to link you to that experience. This type of question matters because it takes the conversation from the present moment into a place of possibility. Most people stay trapped in routine questions about work or daily life, and those conversations keep people locked in their current reality. But attraction is about expansion, it's about stepping outside the ordinary and into something that feels alive. When she imagines herself in a dream location, she is not only talking about a place, she is revealing what she longs for in life: freedom, adventure, beauty, relaxation, culture. Whatever she describes becomes a clue about what makes her feel fulfilled. And when you are the one who gave her the space to express that, you are no longer just another person, you are the one who sees her deeper desires. And there is another layer here: imagination creates intimacy, because when someone shares a dream or a fantasy, they are sharing a part of themselves that most people never ask about. It feels personal, it feels special, it feels like letting someone into an inner world, and that inner world is where connection is born. This is why Playboys use questions that stir imagination. They know that desire grows when the mind is activated, not just the body, because attraction without imagination is shallow and temporary, but attraction that touches fantasy becomes powerful and lasting. So when you ask a woman about where she would wake up if she could choose anywhere in the world, you are not only making her smile and dream, you are positioning yourself as someone who opens doors to possibility. You are someone who lifts her out of the routine and into a vision of something bigger. And because desire is linked to expansion and novelty, she will feel that shift as attraction toward you. She will walk away thinking about the picture she painted, but she will also remember the person who gave her the brush, and that is how you plant yourself in her imagination, not as a passerby but as part of the dream. Number 3 is about unlocking passion by getting her to talk about what lights her up and makes her soul come alive, because there is nothing more magnetic than someone speaking from a place of genuine energy. When you ask a woman what is something you could talk about for hours without ever getting bored, you are not asking for information, you are giving her permission to show you the rawest, most authentic version of herself, and that is powerful because most conversations people have on a daily basis are surface level. They are about tasks, obligations, or quick exchanges that barely scratch the surface of who they are. But when you open the door to passion, you are telling her, I want to know you beyond the obvious, I want to see what excites you. And when she begins to share, whether it is about art or fitness or travel or business or a hobby she secretly obsesses over, you will see her body shift, her posture open, her voice fill with life, her eyes sparkle in a way they didn't just a moment before, and this transformation is where desire is born. The psychology behind this is simple. Passion is contagious. When someone talks about what they love, their brain lights up with dopamine and excitement, and the person listening often mirrors those same emotions. So as she talks with energy, you naturally feel it too, and because emotions are tied to the moment, you become the anchor of that excitement in her mind. She won't just remember the topic she talked about, she will remember how she felt while talking to you, and that feeling is what desire feeds on. This is why playboys and highly charismatic people don't chase approval with compliments, they create attraction by drawing out the other person's passions. They make the other person feel alive, and that aliveness becomes associated with them. There is another reason why asking about passion is so effective. It shows genuine curiosity. When someone listens to you about the things you love, you feel seen and validated in a way that is rare. Most people rush to talk about themselves, but when you give her space to shine, you stand out as someone different, and that difference is what plants the seed of deeper attraction, because attraction is not only about physical chemistry, it is about emotional connection, and feeling understood is one of the deepest emotional needs humans carry. And here is the key: when she opens up about her passion, don't just listen, nod and move on, engage with it. Ask her what makes it so exciting, how she got into it, what it gives her that nothing else does. And when you dig deeper, she feels not only heard but valued, and the more valued she feels, the stronger the bond becomes. Unlocking passion is like flipping a switch. It takes a normal conversation and supercharges it with energy, depth and intimacy, and when you are the one who flipped that switch, you become unforgettable because you made her feel more like herself than anyone else did, and in that feeling lies the foundation of attraction and desire. Number 4 is about building attraction through humor and play, because laughter is one of the fastest ways to lower walls and create a sense of closeness that feels natural and effortless. When you ask a woman what is the most ridiculous thing you have ever laughed at, you are not just chasing a funny story, you are creating an opening for play and lightness that many conversations are missing. The truth is, laughter bonds people quicker than compliments or clever lines ever could, because when two people laugh together, they are sharing a moment that is unguarded, raw and real, and in those moments desire slips in without resistance. When she thinks about something ridiculous that made her laugh, her brain is immediately pulled back into the joy of that moment. It could be a silly mistake she made, a funny inside joke with a friend, or something completely unexpected that cracked her up, and as she relives it, her face softens, her smile grows, and her body relaxes, all the signs of comfort and connection. And because you are the one who triggered that memory, her brain starts to link you to those same feelings. This is not a trick, it is simple psychology. Emotions are contagious, and when you create laughter, you both begin to share a positive emotional state that becomes the foundation for attraction. Humor also communicates confidence because it shows that you don't take yourself too seriously and you're comfortable enough to invite play into the conversation. Playboys and charismatic people understand that teasing, joking and laughing together breaks down the stiffness that often surrounds early interactions, and once that stiffness is gone, the space between two people feels lighter and easier. When a woman feels at ease around you, she naturally wants to stay in that energy because it feels good, and people are wired to return to what feels good. Another important element of using humor to build attraction is that it creates shared memories in real time. While most conversations fade quickly, laughter is sticky. We remember the people we laughed with long after we forget the words they said, and that memory becomes a hook she will replay later on. She might not recall every detail of the story she shared, but she will remember that you made her laugh. She will remember the feeling of ease and lightness, and that memory is what makes her want to see you again. And it is not about being a comedian or forcing jokes, it is about presence and playfulness, it is about listening for opportunities to smile, to tease gently, to lean into the ridiculousness of life and let her see that with you she doesn't have to be guarded, she can be free. Humor allows people to drop their masks, and when she drops her mask she reveals more of herself, and that is where intimacy and desire grow. Laughter is not just sound, it is connection, and when you are the one who creates that connection you become irresistible, because you are no longer just someone she talks to, you are someone she feels good around, and feeling good is the gateway to attraction. Keynote number 5 is about creating intimacy by asking reflective and personal questions that make her feel seen, valued, and desired, because at the core of human connection lies the need to be understood. When you ask a woman, what is one decision you have made that completely changed your life, or what is something people often get wrong about you, you are inviting her into a space that goes beyond surface level chatter. You are signaling that you want to know who she really is, not just the mask she wears in public, and that shift is powerful because intimacy is born not from grand gestures but from moments where someone feels safe enough to reveal their truth. When she reflects on a decision that changed her life, she is stepping back into a defining chapter of her story. It could be moving to a new city, choosing a career path, leaving a relationship, or taking a leap of faith that reshaped everything. And as she shares, she is not just giving you information, she is reliving the emotions tied to that moment: pride, fear, relief, joy, struggle, triumph. And because you are listening with presence, those emotions become anchored to you in her mind. She feels not only that you know her story but that you respect the journey behind it, and that respect builds attraction on a deeper level than looks or charm ever could. The question about what people often get wrong about her digs even deeper because it taps into something we all crave: to be seen accurately. Most people carry frustrations about being misunderstood, judged too quickly, or labeled unfairly. When you ask this question, you are giving her a rare opportunity to correct the narrative and share her authentic truth. Maybe people see her as quiet when she is actually bold. Maybe they think she is intimidating when she is actually soft-hearted. Maybe they assume she has had it easy when she has fought hard battles. Whatever she reveals, it will feel like a secret she doesn't tell everyone, and by being the one she shares it with, you create intimacy that feels exclusive, and exclusivity is magnetic. This kind of reflective conversation also shows your confidence because it proves you are not afraid of depth. While others may stay on the surface, you are willing to step into the spaces where vulnerability lives, and vulnerability breeds closeness. People are drawn to those who make them feel comfortable enough to be real. When she feels that comfort with you, her guard lowers, and with lowered guards comes trust, and with trust comes attraction. And here is why this works so well. She may not remember every detail of the conversation, but she will remember how she felt in it: valued, understood, appreciated. And those are the very feelings that create desire, because desire is not only about physical chemistry, it is about emotional safety. When she feels both safe and excited with you, she will crave more of that balance, and when you are the one who gave it to her, you become unforgettable. Intimacy built through reflection is the difference between a momentary spark and a lasting flame, and that is why asking personal questions that go deeper is one of the strongest ways to trigger true attraction.